I want to teach you something. I say I go, you say I may, and then we'll all be quiet for 5 seconds. I go. And now we pour libations. Libations is the pouring out of liquid in honor of those people who have passed away. Could the sound man give me a little volume? Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me in the back? Libations is the pouring out of liquid in honor of those people who have passed away. As I pour this liquid into the plant, I'd like for you to say Ashe. Say Ashe. Ashe is from the Yoruba language. It means bless you. It means amen. It means you go. It means uh-huh. When I pour this water, my voice vibrates through the liquid. And it becomes something special now. Libations is poured in every country on the continent of Africa. Libations is the way we remember those who came before us. Say Ashe. I pour out a little love for all those great Africans who started the march of civilization 2,000 miles up and down the Nile River Valley. Say Ashe. I pour out a little love for Ramses. Say Ashe. Queen Nzinga. Say Ashe. Shaka Zulu. Say Ashe. I pour out a little love for all the millions of Africans that were marched across the interior to the west coast of Africa, placed on slave ships, taken out into the Atlantic, and brought to North America to start the fight for freedom. Say Ashe. Each ripple in the ocean is a grave for an African who refused to be a slave. For the millions, say Ashe. We pour libations for our ancestors. Everyone in the room has ancestors. Everyone in the room has shoulders that they stand on and are obligated. We have to remember those who came before us. Freedom fighters, the Maroons, runaway slaves who stole away to the swamps of Florida, struck the first real blows for freedom in America. Say Ashe. Harriet Tubman, say Ashe. Frederick Douglass, say Ashe. A man out of Kansas, John Brown, say Ashe. We pour libations for those who have passed away. We remember their names. We say their names because when people stop saying your name, you are truly dead. We want to remember. I pour out a little love for all those great innovators that fought for freedom. Educators like Dr. George Washington Carver, say Ashe. Dr. Charles R. Drew, say Ashe. I pour out a little love for Augustus F. Hawkins, say Ashe. Asa G. Hilliard, say Ashe. Freedom fighters just across the bay over in Oakland. Huey P. Newton, say Ashe. I pour out a little love for people who fought for their land and their families. Pancho Villa, say Ashe. I pour out a little love for Diego Rivera, say Ashe. I want you to say the names of your ancestors, those people whose names I don't even know. Your grandmother, your grandfather, your aunties, people that have passed away. Fill this room with the names of those who came before you. Say the names of your ancestors as I pour. Honor them. Honor them. Say their names. Say their names. Say their names. Say their names. Honor them. Adele Hardy. Wiley Hardy. I pour out a little love for Trayvon Martin and Oscar Grant. Say Ashe. Say Ashe. Libations is the pouring out of liquid in honor of those people who have passed away. The next time you have a bottle of water, a drink, a soda, pour some water and say the name of the ancestors. I pour out a little love for I to be well. Say Ashe. Duke Ellington, say Ashe. 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 You honor me. You honor me by allowing me to pour this libations. I thank you. My name is Brother Clint. Give yourself a hand.
True to our name. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Willie Brown Jr. Middle School. On Monday, August 17, 2015, the founding teachers and staff of Willie Brown Jr. Middle School will open the doors of this school for our 200-plus pioneering students and families for the first day of school in SFUSD. Today, we, the staff of Willie Brown Middle School and San Francisco Unified School District leadership, are honored to host all of the elected officials, our funders, community partners, leaders, families, and students to our official ribbon-cutting ceremony and tour. I am Demetrius Hobson, the founding principal of Willie Brown Jr. Middle School. And I am humbled and honored to stand here before you today. We are gathered to celebrate the manifestation of a vision that strongly communicates to the children and families of San Francisco that the adults of this city care about their futures. Thank you. San Francisco Unified School District, under the leadership of Superintendent Richard Carranza and Deputy Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero, articulated that vision clearly in the San Francisco Unified School District Vision 2025 guiding document by reimagining public education in San Francisco for the next generation. Willie Brown Jr. Middle School is the first STEM middle school redesigned on that vision. We reimagined the use of space and time here at Willie Brown by creating longer course blocks for students to truly engage in deeper learning. We built a makerspace, which we call the Garage, where students will use the Willie Brown Middle School design thinking process to explore, to imagine, to prototype, and to share in hands-on project-based learning. Our curriculum is designed for students to engage in real-life learning experiences enhanced by technology. Every student at Willie Brown Middle School will be assigned a laptop so that all of our students can access the internet as a learning tool every day in every class, including their personalized learning plan. As we prepare to ensure that our students are motivated to master the academic content of our education program, we want our students to be physically and emotionally healthy as well. Through our partnership with the Department of Public Health, we have a healthcare clinic right on the other side of this window bay right here. Can we have our Department of Health staff members please stand? Our healthcare clinic will be staffed with a nurse practitioner, a psychologist, and a social worker. We offer a separate health class along with physical education to support our students as they mature into adolescence. We are a STEM school focused on the whole child. In addition to the core content, math, science, social science, and English language arts, we are offering music, art, Spanish, and youth leadership through peer resources. Through our partnership with the San Francisco Beacon Initiative, funded by the Department of Children, Youth, and their Families, we will provide learning opportunities before, during, and after school. Our Beacon will support our family engagement efforts and coordinate family programming during the school day. Can we have all of our Beacon employees and staff members please stand? Okay, they're in the back. Thank you. So it's at this time that all of the employees of Willie Brown Middle School who are wearing our phenomenal, dramatic, and powerful Spark of Creativity t-shirt, we'd like for all of the staff members, the founding staff of Willie Brown, to step forward and join me here. This is the team that is going to take our students to the next level. This is the team that is going to manifest Vision 2025. This is the Willie Brown founding staff of Willie L. Brown Jr. Middle School. Teachers transform lives. And here at Willie Brown, we will be transforming the lives of our students. During an appreciation session at a summer professional development training, one of our teachers declared, "Demetrius, we're going to crush it this year." That is the spirit and enthusiasm that the founding staff of Willie Brown Middle School will bring to our students every day in every class. So let's give it up again for our founding staff. As I prepare to conclude, this would not be possible if it wasn't for the coordination and alignment of resources throughout the city of San Francisco, both within San Francisco Unified School District, within city agencies, public servants, community-based leaders and organizations, parents, families, and I would say everyone in San Francisco who has been extremely focused on Willie Brown Middle School and its construction. So we want to acknowledge Overa Construction Company. Overa, if you're present, can you please stand? Thank you. And so I personally want to thank Malia Cohen, District 10 Supervisor, Harlan and Naomi Kelly, the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission Community Benefits Initiative with Dwayne Jones, Emilio Cruz, Julia Ellis, and Jesse Buendia. The Sarah and Evan Williams Foundation, as well as IDO. Emily Wade Thompson and Virginia Marshall of the San Francisco Alliance of Black School Educators. Reverend Dr. Amos Brown of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Willie L. Brown Jr., the man himself. Thank you, sir. Mayor Ed Lee. Thank you, sir. There are so many supporting organizations and individuals that my welcome could last for hours. In the interest of time, know that our students and our families are filled with gratitude for all of your support. I want to thank both the deputy superintendents and the departments under their leadership, Deputy Superintendent Myung Lee over policy and operations, and Guadalupe Guerrero over instruction, innovation, and social justice, the entire central office at 555 Franklin, including Leslie Gardner, and the dynamic project manager for Willie Brown Middle School, Joyanna Balk. Joya, please step forward. Please join us, Joya. Thank you. Joya supported the alignment of all of the district, community, and corporate resources to successfully open Willie L. Brown Jr. Middle School. My success is evident of her talent and dedication. And now I am pleased to bring to the podium our fearless leader, Superintendent Richard Carranza.
So what do you think about this little school in the heart of the Bayview? I want to sincerely thank Principal Hobson. You know, we're really proud that we searched the nation to find the founding principal at Willie L. Brown Jr. Middle School, and I think we crushed it. What do you think? So ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, supporters, San Franciscans, this is truly a wonderful day for us, not only in the San Francisco Unified School District, but in particular for us in San Francisco. To think that in the heart of the Bayview, in the heart of one of the most dynamic communities in our city, rich with history, rich with passion, rich with artists and scientists and intellectual leaders of all stripes, a rich history in our city. We now have a middle school in the heart of the Bayview commensurate with the beautiful heritage and rich history of the community in which it resides. And I can think of no finer namesake for this school than the mayor, as he's affectionately known to all, Mayor Willie L. Brown. And yes. And I still remember a few months ago when we took him to see the renderings of what this was going to look like, and in his very pensive way asked very deliberate questions about locations and color swatches, finishes. Never quite asked if there was going to be marble, but we knew what he was thinking. But he was so engaged with us from the very beginning in terms of the design, and what he always said to us was, I want it to be useful to the students and families of our city. It was never about him, it was about the community. So Mr. Mayor, thank you for being our partner in the design of this school. And I also want to point out that if you look out this window and you look in the right direction, you will see the Willie L. Brown Jr. Bridge from this vantage point. And some of you may have heard me say this before, but isn't it beautiful that the Willie L. Brown Jr. Bridge brings people from all corners of our country and world into this beautiful city of San Francisco? And the Willie L. Brown Jr. Middle School will take our students to all corners of the world to explore through their academic pursuits. I can think of no finer testament. I'd like to take a point of personal privilege here and recognize some individuals that were absolutely instrumental in us being here today to cut the ribbon on this beautiful school. And that is a group of individuals that I'm very proud to serve with and serve in support of the work that happens to educate our children in San Francisco. And that's our elected Board of Education. So I'd like to recognize them by name and thank them for their incredible leadership and support. First, I'd like to recognize the Vice President of our Board of Education, Matt Haney, who is here with us. Our immediate past President of the Board of Education, Commissioner Sandra Lee Fewer. Commissioner Shimon Walton. Commissioner Jill Wins. Commissioner Rachel Norton. And sending her regards because she had to be out of town and wanted to absolutely make sure you knew that she's here with us in spirit, our President of the Board of Education, Dr. Emily Morase. And also just a moment to recognize another two individuals who were critically important. She no longer serves on the Board of Education, but was part of the planning, was part of us seeking a bond for the voters of the city of San Francisco to make this possible. And she was a staunch supporter of us moving forward with this project. And that's former Commissioner Kim Shree-Moffice, who honors us with her presence today. Thank you. And if I may, I also want to recognize my immediate predecessor, Superintendent Carlos Garcia, who said, the kids in the Bayview deserve a school that is commensurate with who they are. And he kind of led the charge and then retired, and he couldn't be here with us. But I want to give a shout out to Carlos for his leadership as well. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where I go off script because Principal Hobson has recognized all of our incredible partners. You've seen our phenomenal founding staff and faculty, and I will tell the faculty and staff of Willie Brown Middle School, we are counting on you to crush it this year and in future years. And when we said we were going to build this school and rebuild it and have this STEM-focused school, it really is focused on what we've defined as a graduate profile. Actually, we haven't defined it. The community has defined what is the graduate that we want to produce in our school system. And there are the characteristics. And if you think about everything that Principal Hobson talked about this school will be, it's aligned to our Vision 2025. It is what we will produce at Willie Brown Jr. Middle School. And I will be very boastful, unapologetically, in saying this is the finest middle school, STEM middle school in the nation, right here in San Francisco. It is. And for me, I think what's even more important, ladies and gentlemen, is that in San Francisco's public schools, we are absolutely not interested in school improvement. And we're not interested in school district improvement. We're not interested in that. Because I will tell you, and I will pose it to you, that if you look at every indicator, school systems are working exactly the way they were designed to work. They're sorting kids, and certain kids get opportunities and other kids don't. And certain students have pathways to high-paying jobs and sustainable living wages, and other students don't. So we're not interested in improving that system. We're interested in systems change. We're interested in changing that system. And one of the questions we're always asked is, it's beautiful rhetoric, Mr. Superintendent. That sounds really good. But where does the rubber meet the road? Ladies and gentlemen, look around. This is where the rubber meets the road. Because this is going to be the school that puts into effect our graduate profile and will give every one of the 216 students that are going to enter the door in this first class, will give them the pathway to be successful students in life, career, and in their future. And they're going to do that here at the Willie Brown Jr. Middle School. So we're interested, and this is our down payment to the city, to the Bayview, to our country, to educate our students, particularly students who have historically not been served well by the system that we call public education. It changes here, it changes today. So all I have to say is we're counting on all of us to crush it, not only this year, but in future years. In my final comments, I want to just remind us that one of the questions we were asked when we posed it to the community we were going to rebuild Willie Brown Jr. Middle School is, if you build it, will they come? And in our system where parents have full choice of where they send their children to school, it was a valid question. So I'm here to tell you that when we open the doors to our students, our 216 students on Monday, understand that there's over 100 students on a waiting list who wanted to come, who chose to come to Willie Brown Jr. Middle School, and there wasn't room yet. So do people want to come? Absolutely they want to come. And when you look at the classrooms at Willie Brown Jr. Middle School, it is in fact, it is the most diverse middle school in San Francisco. It is the world right here in our neighborhood. So with that, I also want to thank one last person who is here with us today as well, and has been incredibly supportive of our public school system. He knows what he's talking about, and more importantly, what he talks about is grounded in the reality of what it takes to support public education. And he realizes that you cannot have a world-class city without having a world-class public education system. And I want to thank our mayor, Mayor Ed Lee, for being here with us today and all of your support. So as we go forward, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look in the nooks and crannies. I want you to get used to what this school looks like. I want you to take pictures. I want you to celebrate the fact that in 10 years we haven't built a new school in San Francisco, and this is the first of many to come, because the world is changing and we're going to meet that change. Wherever you have concentrated areas of poverty and disadvantage, the only solution is concentrated great education. And that's what we will provide here at the Willie Brown Jr. Middle School. So with that, welcome. Nuestra casa es su casa. Our home is your home. And I have the incredible honor of introducing our Congresswoman, who is fighting for us, is fighting for equity in Washington, D.C. And if you think our hills are tough, you should see that hill. But we're really glad that we have a fighter who really keeps in mind what our values are in San Francisco. So it's a pleasure to invite to the podium to share a few words with us, Congresswoman Jackie Speier.
Thank you, Superintendent. I want you to stand up for a moment, Superintendent. I want you to see the incredible tie the Superintendent has on today that matches the colors of this school. Willie Brown, watch out. You've got competition in the style area. Well, Mr. Mayor, the Mayor, to the Mayor's family, to the members of the school board, to all the honored guests who are here, what a privilege for me to join you today to cut this ribbon and announce the Willie L. Brown Middle School. Now, you may remember that there was an elementary school named after the mayor, and now there's a middle school, and maybe someday, if you live long enough, there'll be a university named after you in fine design for fashion. I'm not sure about that, but the one thing I am sure about is that this school is going to educate young people into the century that this is, with the kinds of skills they need to truly achieve. Now, I'm humored by the fact that the mayor and I probably wouldn't be accepted to the school because we know nothing about coding, electrical engineering, or civil engineering, some of the classes that will be offered here. It may have your namesake, but I don't think you'd be admitted here, Mr. Mayor. 164 years ago, in 1851, Senator Broderick in Sacramento introduced legislation to create the first public school system, the first public school district in California. And it was none other than San Francisco. So it's appropriate that we're here today. Maybe it's the fact that this has been some 10 years before we have been in a situation of opening a new school. This is an extraordinary school. And beyond the kinds of STEM classes that will be offered here, this is the only middle school in San Francisco that will have a science lab. It is going to have a health clinic, not just for the students, but for the community. And this particular facility here is not just an auditorium for the students, but for the community as well. This is truly a community school. And that's the vision of the future, and something that we should attempt to achieve everywhere in this city. So, I want to just say a couple words about the namesake of this school. You'll be happy to know that more money was spent on this school than any other school, middle school in San Francisco's history. $43 million, I was told. And in fact, I was also told, I serve on the Intelligence Committee now, so I do my intelligence gathering ahead of time, that when the school was named after Senator Dianne Feinstein, there wasn't enough money for the library. So she ponied up the money. So get ready, Mr. Mayor. There may be some opportunities for you as this school enjoys its growing pains. But I do want to say, for many years in Sacramento, I was the speaker's seatmate. And I will guarantee you that his best voting record was during the years that I was his seatmate. But I had the great opportunity to observe him in action every single day. And the young kids that are going to come here and learn about Willie L. Brown will learn about someone who took his indignation and did something with it. He transformed the legislature. He transformed the city. He has always been there taking care of those in need. And he has never forgot his roots, and he's never forgot his sense of humor, all of which has served him immeasurably. So it's an honor to be with you, Mr. Mayor, as we dedicate the school after you, and we look forward to your comments today.
Next, we will have Assembly Member David Chu.
Good morning. Are we having a good day today? Excellent. I want to thank you first and foremost for being part of the amazing village that is San Francisco. Look around this room. Just take a moment, look around. We represent every stripe of our city. We come from the government sector, the private sector, the nonprofit sector. We are San Francisco, and we cannot be more proud. I am delighted to be here in celebration of a school named after one of our city's legends. I'm here representing the State Assembly. I'm proud to be here with the district directors of Assembly Member Phil Ting and Rob Bonta. But I'm incredibly humbled to represent the east side of San Francisco in the State Assembly, an assembly district that was represented for 31 years by a man we honor today, the longest serving Speaker of the California State Assembly, Mayor Willie L. Brown Jr. Mayor Brown, it is fitting this school is your legacy, this rebirth of this school, because this is a school that looks as good as your suits. And it's fitting that we're here because this is a school that is going to be on the cutting edge, not just of education, not just of innovation, not just of STEM education, but how we reimagine what education should be in the 21st century. You were a mayor who presided over the beginning of our evolution as a city, as an international center of innovation and technology. It's also fitting that we are here in the heart of the Bayview. The Bayview, so much history, so much passion, so much community, and we know a part of our city that has had so many challenges, particularly with regard to our African American community. How many of you visited or spent time in the former Willie Brown School? Raise your hands. I had a chance in the final weeks before that school closed to visit. And I think it was hard at that time to imagine the school that we are in today. But at a time of growing inequality that we see all over the country, all over the state of California, and yes, even here in San Francisco, it is appropriate that our city, our San Francisco leaders, our school board, our school district, has invested not, and I will quibble for one moment with Congresswoman Spear, it wasn't $43 million we spent on this school, it was actually $54 million that we spent. It was appropriate that we invested that money here. Because as I think many of us often say, when Bayview succeeds, when our children in the Bayview succeed, finally we can say that all of San Francisco can be successful. Let me close with the following. I know that from this school, we're going to have young boys and girls. Maybe their names are Ed or Jackie or Richard, who someday will be the next mayor of this city, will be the next members of Congress, will be our next school educators. Someday there may be a young boy who walks through these school doors. Maybe his name is Willie. Maybe he comes from a background of not a lot of means. And he's going to come to this school and go to the top high schools in San Francisco and perhaps come the next mayor, the next Speaker of the Assembly, our next governor, maybe our next President of the United States. So with that, thank you again for being part of this village, and it is my honor to introduce our next speaker, someone who learned about leadership and management from the man who we are honoring today, someone who's committed to schools and families and kids, who has helped to build San Francisco as a center of innovation and technology, our 43rd mayor of the city and county of San Francisco, Mayor Ed Lee.
Wow, what a place to be at today. On the eve of school reopening across our city, we have an opportunity to be at our newest school here, named after, of course, my good friend, Willie Brown. You know, Willie, I listened to you this morning. Where's the NBA championship trophy? It should be right here. This is where it should be. Because knowing the kind of investments that we're all making in this school and the teachers, this is going to be a championship school. And I know that I'm joking about an NBA trophy that was talked about this morning that Mayor Willie Brown had as part of his radio talk show, but I predict and expect that this school will earn, with the leadership of Administrator Principal Hodges and all of his staff and the school board, will earn more trophies, world-class trophies of excellence, because this is what we expect. Let me ask you, or let me tell you, I was recently asked a question. Mayor Lee, what's a good investment in San Francisco? And for a moment I paused because I didn't know whether he who asked the question knew I was not the CEO of Twitter, even though my name gets associated with that, or Salesforce, which I'd love to be, or a myriad of very successful companies that have shown up in the last few years to become tremendously successful economically, and part of the success of our 3.6% unemployment in the city. What is a good investment? Well, they may have been surprised because I answered them very truthfully. The best investment you can make is to invest in our kids in San Francisco. That is the best investment. Because the return will be multiple decades of success. More than just a few years of economic success for people. It'll be years of success, of families growing up, participating, innovating, as well as being well educated. And that's why I am so happy to be in the room, as I am all the time, with the superintendent, with the elected school board and the school district, matched up with our city agencies, our department heads, people who themselves have invested in our city greatly, because we want everybody to be successful. And this particular school is going to go well beyond equity. It's going to be about total success in the city. And for the individually selected teachers, something that Willie whispered in my ear, all of the teachers that you saw that are part of the initial, they were individually selected. You're going to find a lot of attraction to your principal because he is now one of the 21 principals that I have adopted as part of the middle grades initiative with Salesforce Foundation. Thank you to Mark Benioff and his passion for the city. And he is about to receive $100,000 innovation fund as being a principal in the middle schools. Something that we negotiated a while back with the other principals of middle schools because of the challenge that they had. Not just in the Bay, all over the city, middle schools were being challenged. From the breakdown in parental engagement, to the school sites themselves, to the teachers and the principals having to spend more and more of their time on less academic excellence and more on the quality of what the school site was. We have it all here. This investment of the Willie L. Brown Jr. Middle School is a combination of many other investments of the city, the agencies, the foundations, the private companies. We have the entire San Francisco Chamber of Commerce signaling a Unite SF program to embrace our education. We have 2,500 technology companies with Circle the Schools program, embracing all of our public schools. And we have Salesforce and a number of foundations that believed that if the mayor can focus a little bit on the most challenging grades, they will also make some serious investments. Well, they have. And they have here, not only with the over $50 million of investments, with the very deliberate selection of the staff, with the special recruitment to recruit the best talent out of Chicago to come here and offer his character and his enthusiasm for the kids and the parents. And then we've enticed the best companies to invest right here in the Bayview and all of our middle grades. I say to you that it's easier to answer that question more and more in San Francisco when people ask me what's a good investment. It's not necessarily the high-rise condo downtown or the buildings that we're going to build on Market and Van Ness or the reinvigoration of Market Street. There are plenty of those economic investments, but I want a long-term return on our investment. I want to see our kids from the Bayview be the department heads, the scientists, the CEOs, the police chiefs and fire chiefs of this great city. I mean it because you know already we have acted on these. These are not empty promises. This school is here because those investments are very real. And so now we get to say to our kids, we expect a return. I'm going to look at these kids who come through here. We expect you to return on our investment, which means basically you have to succeed. We are not going to let you fail, but we are going to embrace your success. And so I am here on a day of great happiness because it's not just the school season opening. It is an opportunity to say once again, to associate what I have often been challenged with in my careers in the past. We don't just want people who operate things. Willie Brown knows who bureaucrats are. He wants people who can produce excellence. That's how we get the gold trimming on City Hall. That's why we have the most innovative companies in the world coming to our city. That is why Mayor Brown and I can present all these trophies when 400 mayors come to visit our cities. And we proudly boast to them what you got. And in very short years, we're going to say at Willie Brown School to the rest of the city and the rest of the country what you got. Because we got Willie L. Brown Middle School in the Bayview in San Francisco with the most successful kids that we'll ever have. This is the story of San Francisco being the most innovative, successful city in the country because we make the right investments. Thank you for being part of that great investment. We look forward to you being all here. Graduation day, all the other celebrations, we'll be here. Thank you very much. Oh, and of course. Well, as we look on to the Willie Brown Bridge, as we celebrate this wonderful day, as we surround ourselves with all of the people committed to this community and everywhere else, I have the undivided privilege of inviting up here your former mayor, your historic speaker, but also someone on a daily basis who loves our communities, loves being in them, loves interacting with them, and continues to challenge me to be the best mayor I can be to match his record. Welcome, the mayor, Willie L. Brown Jr.
Mr. Mayor, my former seatmate, Congresswoman Jackie Spear, David Chu, successor to an assembly district that I represented for so many years, to the members of the school board now, and then, and then, and then, and I'm talking only about Gene. Let me say to all of you, I am indeed honored beyond belief. So honored, something I seldom if ever do, so that they don't ever need any form of security, because some of the things I do generates hostile reactions. And so most of you didn't know I had a family because they have never shown up anywhere for fear they might be the victims. But they insisted that they had come, and I insisted that they come for the occasion of this school. And I want to have them stand as if they were part of your team, Demetrius, or part of the Beacons, or part of the health group, or what have you, because they really do constitute the foundation for everything that I have done in all the years, and for whatever honor has ever been bestowed upon me. It really is and should be bestowed upon the Willie Brown clan and the Willie Brown family. And it begins with Blanche, and Susan, who incurred more time, and Robin, who has responsibility for the other two daughters, and the one who joined us by way of the marriage to my son Michael, the young woman who represents everything that Michael is about, with her two children, the grandchildren who are here. And then the granddaughters, who are the descendants of Robbins, so that there are 4 grandkids, I guess, that are here today. One's in school. Your kid's at school, right? She's down in Florida. So, is that Michael? My son, Michael. And the 2 granddaughters, whom I said Robin produced, have 5 grandchildren. And all of them are, he's the heir apparent, Mateo. It's all part of the family group that we have. And there are a couple of the other kids that are not here, but they are a part of it. And so I wanted you to see who those kids really are. And I must tell you that there are a number of people in this room that have worked with me for years and years and years. And they too deserve the honor, because you don't get to anything or any place without an incredible series of people who work with you. And I had the great pleasure when elected mayor in 1995, one of the first persons that I interacted with was the human rights executive director at that time, and it was Ed Lee. And he has steadily moved up to running the city. And in many of those days when he was running the process of moving up, he was doing what makes me look good throughout the city and county of San Francisco. And I maintain he still makes me look good in his work in the city and county of San Francisco, except when he forgets to introduce me. But Mr. Mayor, I'm really pleased that, and I'm pleased with the relationship that all these staff people that you talked about have had and have with the city. You are right. This is an incredible city. And Mr. Superintendent, when the whole business of the Willie Brown Dream School, I don't know where you were at that time, but Joe Wins remembers that the Dream School concept, when they took the old police academy that nobody else wanted, and they tried to make it into a quality school. We were all here. Drew, you took photographs. I think you owned your first camera for that occasion. You've gone great since then, but and it was groovy to come out here and do what we tried to do. And obviously that dream school really did not ultimately work. Suddenly, Board of Education of San Francisco decided something differently should happen to the site. The voters were sold, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Superintendent, and the school members and ex-members on the idea of doing something differently here. And different is what you have heard about. I just cannot imagine how anyone could conceive many years ago of what this physical structure would be like. And I must tell you that there are some people here whom I met for the first time, and that's the architect and the construction folk, Mr. Superintendent, whom you put together, and they're all here celebrating with great pride and put on their resume this incredible facility, and they're entitled to do that, because if they didn't, I would claim that I designed the school. And so I want the public to see who those people are. Would you schools, construction people, architects, and the designers, please take your rightful place and stand and be acknowledged for all the things that you did. And then, Mr. Mayor, I was out here 3 or 4 months ago when we were still under construction. You had to wear a hard hat, and we had a ceremony. And Demetrius brought us out here, and then they went over and they had an unveiling of something that came from the Housing Authority. When the Housing Authority decided to get rid of my bus, it had to go somewhere. And the man who was the director of this project took it home and kept it at his home all that time. He got to know me really well. And then about 3 months ago, they had built the podium, David, where they wanted to put it. And they literally had the podium done. And I came out and they pulled the cover off, and sure it was there. And he's been smiling, and I'm very pleased because he apparently kept polishing it and polishing it and polishing it. And I look a hell of a lot better in that form than I do in this form. And I want to thank him very much for that occasion. And he too should stand up. The man who really directed the project, where is he? He and his wife are here, are right there. All those years, and it takes a long time to produce anything of real quality, and this obviously took a long time, but it is in fact done. And to have the idea of these windows, you know, I went to a school that didn't have any windows in Texas. That little school had nothing. But suddenly, I'm going to tell everybody, this is identically the kind of school that I went to in Mineola. And that's what it is. That's what you have designed. But to have just these windows, this window setting is unbelievable. Look out there and you see San Francisco at its best, right in front of you. And it's all part of what those who envisioned this school thought would be inspirational to the youngsters and to the families that would be in association with this school. And when I walked out in just beyond and through the double doors or triple doors that are there, it looked like I was in a coliseum. It looked like a forum. The whole center circle where people can interact with each other, where people can do lectures, and where you can do soapboxes and all the other things. And then I look straight ahead, and there it is, the health center, and with people who will be doing the things that need to be done, not only for the school kids, but for the whole community. That's a far cry from the old school nurse concept, Mr. Superintendent, that didn't work well at all. And now all of a sudden, you're in the driver's seat of what the world is going to be like for schools all over the country. Then think about it. This is the kind of facility you would only see where people pay $25,000, $35,000, $40,000 a year for each one of the kids in the school, plus they donate another $15,000 to $20,000 for the operation part of that school, plus they pay for the capital improvement that the voters of the city and county of San Francisco paid for. And Mr. Mayor, when you outlined the number of people who are sharing their resources, it literally eliminates the need totally for families to try to assume that burden. This is the structure that we have here. The business of selecting who will teach the kids and why they are the specialists. Just think of the cooperation that the principal had to get from the union organizations, from the teacher organizations, from the administrative organizations in order to make it work. This is really an incredible place. It has the potential to go beyond anything we've done in the San Francisco school system. And I must tell you that I'm going to work really hard in every way to assist. I'm going to bug the superintendent. I'm going to bug the principal. I'm going to bug everybody, including the mayor, to make sure that these parents and these children get everything that they richly deserve. And I really do. And Mr. Mayor, you're absolutely right. I really do want to see, and David, you talked about by name, I really do want to see coming out of this school the kind of youngsters that will matriculate into the high schools, and that at all times they will be reflective of the quality of the appropriations that have been done on their behalf. I want the families to continuously seek admission to this school. I want that list of people waiting and trying to get in. I want to receive those calls. Parents still call, and I'm sure, Mr. Mayor, they call you more than they do me by light years, but they call and say, can you help us get into X school or Y school? I want to hear them call and say, can you help us get into your school? And of course I'm going to say yes, as I always do. Well, how's that any different? But I want that kind of aggressive efforts to be exposed to what obviously is going to be a spectacular educational opportunity and a spectacular environment for school purposes and for public school purposes. I want, Mr. Superintendent and Mr. Principal, I want to parade every one of my friends and my relationships through this school. I want them to see it. I want Mayor Lee to make this the school that he brings when people from other countries come to see what education is like in San Francisco. I want every aspect of the entertainment world to come take a look, because they always want to do something for schools allegedly. I want them here. I want them participating. I want them to be a part of this magnificent, and it's no longer an experiment. I want them to look at this achievement, and it is all because so many people were so dedicated. Jill, I have no idea how you guys got the votes to name it after me. I don't remember what I was trading you at that time, but it must have been something. But to have it named after me and to have it on the resume, you're talking about bragging rights. Just wait till I see Diane. And one of Nancy Pelosi's staff people gave me a note from Nancy, said unfortunately she couldn't be here. She's somewhere out of the country and what have you. I sent a message back. I will read the note when she meets me out here to take the tour. Nancy needs to see this because Nancy clearly was a part of the effort to produce this. Without the kind of thing that Nancy and Jackie and the people at the congressional level were doing, John Burton needs to see this. Without the participation of the Burton clan over the years, it could not obviously have happened. All those things and all those people deserve to be a part of whatever honor is being extended to me. I accept it in all humbleness, and I in every way am indeed proud. And if you'll just tolerate one more thing that I will be allowed to do, I want the Brown family to come up here. And Drew, in spite of the fact that I said we're going to go downstairs and do it, no, we're going to do it right here. I want the Brown family to come up like they're part of the 21 that was chosen. Jeanette, come on up, come on up, come on up. Yeah. I want the Brown clan to come on up. You stay right here. Stay right here. I want you right here. All right, thank you. Thank you. And to San Francisco, thank you.
Nobody should have to follow Mayor Brown, but I'm gonna do my best. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Haney. I serve as the Vice President of the Board of Education, and I have the honor this morning of providing some closing remarks and representing my colleagues here from the Board of Education. I think the first thing, and I felt this when I walked in here, it's one thing to imagine this place. It's one thing to see it on paper. It's an entirely different thing to be here. I mean, how beautiful is this? How amazing is this place? I was able to come in earlier before most people were here, and I walked into the maker space, which I hope when we cut the ribbon, you all have an opportunity to stay and walk around. And I literally, the first thing that came to my mind, it was an immediate rush of joy, but also a sense of, why can't all of our students have this? Why can't this reality here in this school be available to every single student in San Francisco? And this community, especially here in the Bayview, deserves this school so much. And for this to be happening and what that means, and for all of the people who are a part of it, all of the hard work, all of the struggle, all of the fighting to get this school here, I want to say on behalf of my colleagues, I want to say thank you. We share such tremendous excitement and pride and gratitude to all of the people who made this possible, to Mayor Brown, to Mayor Lee, to Congresswoman Spear, Assemblymember David Chu, all of the people here who fought for this school to be what it is, to be the beautiful, almost unimaginable place that we're now sitting in here today. From the beginning of this process of talking about rebuilding the school of Willie Brown Middle School, which actually started before I was on the school board, there was one guiding principle, one guiding goal that this school board had. And that was that we would, if we were going to do this, we were going to build a school that reflected the very best of what public education could be. We weren't going to do this just build another school. If we were going to build a facility and we were going to name it after Willie Brown, we were going to build the best possible facility that we could have. We were going to have a 21st century, modern place that inspired imagination, that inspired creativity, that inspired joy. And it is such an extraordinary thing to be here and to see it in reality. But even more, and I think we're going to see this, it's one thing being here without the students, but imagine when the students are here. Imagine on Monday when they come in, and not only is it the experience of being here in this place and what this tells them about who they are and how we value them in their future, it's also the kind of learning that's going to happen here. It's the idea that young people, every single young person, should have the opportunity to fulfill their potential, should be able to bring out their own inner genius. Every single child. And as the superintendent said, for so many of our children for so long, we haven't done that for them. We've given up on some kids. We've said in this community, the quality of education is going to be different. And what we are making a commitment to do with this school and with the children who show up here on Monday is to not do that anymore in San Francisco. Not do that anymore in this school and create a new model of what it truly means to serve every student well, where they can be themselves, where they can have joyful learning. Very different from my middle school experience. I don't know how middle school was for you all, but it wasn't like this for me. And I think that in order to do this, we had a great leadership team from the Board of Education and from the superintendent, but it was a community, citywide effort. All the folks who are in this room who've been recognized, the staff of Willie Brown Middle School, the private partners, our philanthropic partners, our community partners who stood with us and said, we believe in you. We believe in the children of San Francisco. Two that I want to make sure we recognize specifically. Salesforce has been an incredible sponsor. If you'll please give them a round of applause for their partnership. And if you'll notice, this place looks a little cool. It looks a little different. Something about the design of what is happening here is a little unusual. It's very San Francisco in some ways. And there were folks who believed that we could have a different vision of what the school experience was going to look like. And I want to recognize the Sarah and Evan Williams Foundation for their leadership. To give them a round of applause. And IDEO, who's been a partner on this. So many people helped to make this possible. The community, so many members of the community are here. And are going to actualize the vision of what the school actually is for the students who are here when they start on Monday. The last thing I want to close, and then I have scissors somewhere, which aren't quite as big as I imagined them. It's much smaller. I sort of thought I was going to get the big ones there. There's a quote that I love, which is from President Roosevelt. And he said, "We can't always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future." The young people who here in the heart of the Bayview in this school, the young people who come out of this school will be equipped with the skills, the knowledge, the experience that they need to lead the city in the future. They'll be the next mayor. They'll be the next tech CEOs. They'll be the artists and the musicians and the city leaders. And for us to all be here and be here together and be a part of it, I think is just an extraordinary, joyful, beautiful thing. And the future is bright because of what is happening here. Thank you again for being here and for your support. Once again, welcome to Willie L. Brown Jr. Middle School. And let's go cut this ribbon. Thank you.